Hellclock is one of the more unusual games I've had a chance to play lately. It's not quite an ARPG, it's not quite a roguelite, but it exists in between the two. And while it's certainly not going to be for everyone, I feel like there's a greater concept that's worth exploring with this more fastier, lootier take on the designs. Our story is based off the War of Canudos in the 19th century. We have returned armed with the titular hellclock in order to right the wrongs that have fallen the people. And we're going to use this clock to go on very violent and very speedy runs through a 3-act structure. As I said in the stinger, Hellclock tries to combine both an ARPG and a roguelite, and it does this in several ways. The 3 acts will push you through to 3 different areas, each with their own set of bosses, elites, and of course an environment to explore. A lot of what's going to impact your run occurs before you start it, and the game features a lot of meta progression and just progression along those lines. First, there are special relics. These are your clothing that you can find during a run or buy at the randomly kind of progressing shop that occurs in your hub. Each item, when it's equipped, provides you with a permanent bonus, and they go up in tiers. The further in the game you get, the higher the tiers you're going to find. Next, you have the skills you can equip onto your character, with each act introducing another set of skills. And the skills run the gambit from spells, to guns, to summons, buffs, debuffs, and more. But where things get a little bit more interesting and challenging is with the use of kind of divine relics. During a run, you'll be able to acquire them sometimes through luck and by beating an elite or boss fight. The relics come in different varieties, but where things get very interesting is with the unique or exalted relics that you can find. These are one-offs that apply to one specific skill, and they will change that skill in some way. So this can completely alter the utility of that skill and can lead to some very unusual and very powerful combinations. So the build that I have running that you're seeing in the footage, I'm using the split shot, which is the kind of game's generic shotgun blast. It's meant to hit a lot of enemies, it's meant to be very weak. But with the relic that I have on, it turns it into a single shot, almost sniper bolt that pierces multiple enemies that will also gain additional properties as I shoot enemies and they kind of pierce through them. On top of that, I gain mana shield or conviction that costs me more mana, but at the same time, it grants me more protection so I can survive. And this is just like at the top of the rabbit hole of builds you can find in this game, as you'll start to get relics that will change the elemental type of a weapon, which you can then also have relics that proc off of certain elemental types, and things get crazy from there. And this is where Hellclock really starts to pop off, that it's all about creating just your own flavor of build, and then pushing that as far as you can. On top of that, you'll collect soul stones as you explore, which can be used as kind of currency, and the more you overall have will go towards your perk tree. The perks are locked into different acts as well, but this is where you're going to find the variety of the major ways of just powering yourself up, and especially in useful quality of life features, such as getting more blessings or passive perks during a run. And if you're playing this on hardcore like I am, you get access to a second life, granting you a chance to quickly leave a run if you're about to die. And as you play through, you'll be able to keep boosting even further, as once you get close to the end of Act 2, you unlock a Grim Dawn style constellation system that adds even more perks and bonuses on top of everything else. Now you've noticed I've been talking for almost like 4 or 5 minutes now, we haven't even gotten to the actual run. And there is a very important reason for that. The runs themselves are very basic in their approach. If you're hoping for like crazy wild events that can happen that completely take you off guard, you're not going to find that here. Each run is about like 20 to I think 21 floors. Now your hell clock is counting down. When it hits 0, the run ends. And part of the entire build focus of hell clock is that you're trying to create a build that's going to just let you rip and tear through the entire act. On specific floors, you'll find either an arena fight or a boss that you must defeat. And as you level up during a run, you'll be able to choose from randomly chosen perks based on the relics and skills that you have. Each skill can only have a fixed number of perks of different rarities attached to it. So you have to be a little bit more mindful as to how you're going to build your skills over the length of a run. Now, the trinkets that you find only stay on for that run, they push your stats even further. And like I said earlier, when you beat a boss arena, you get a choice of different exalted relics. And as you get higher in difficulty, you'll be able to find better tiers of that. And this is even on top of finding ways of altering the stats on relics, finding kind of like little consumable items. And the developers are definitely going for a more is more approach. At the time that I'm recording this, the game had a 1.2 patch and they're preparing for a big 2.0 that adds DLC, more skills, more endgame, etc, etc. And yes, this game features a new game plus / endgame mode, where you're given new perk trees and the game gets even more challenging. And while this all sounds like a perfect formula for, again, an ARPG roguelite, the problem the hellclock has is that it feels like there's too much for too little payoff. Once you figure out the build that you want, it is just pretty much suicide to try and swap that, especially if you're on hardcore difficulty. And your ability to make permanent progression kind of occupies in peaks and valleys. When you move from one act to another and get access to new skills, and again, their associated relics, that's going to be really great. But when you're stuck in an act, it just becomes very little upgrades, and you're just trying to push up your perk tree to hopefully get enough power to get through. And I would have liked to have seen, I think, a little bit more variety of relics, especially some that could maybe have more combinations with 2 or more skills. Because again, each one of the relics only occupies either a skill type or just one skill. So it becomes, again, very black and white how you're supposed to approach it. And as another point, the kind of visual clarity of the game gets a bit worse as you get further in. More specifically, as you start unlocking more skills. You see, when you're playing on the higher difficulty and on hardcore, you need to be really mindful of all those little effects coming to get you. When the screen is full of bullets and lightning and flashing and more, I just cannot see sometimes an enemy about to attack me. And when you get higher in difficulty, enemies can come close to one-shotting you, or certain attacks can. That's not really good. Hellclock is one of those games, as I said, that I would love to see like more added in terms of a variety of builds and ways of playing it. And even just more, again, leaning into the roguelite aspect of making the runs feel more alive. Now again, with them continuing to add more content to it, that complaint may go away at some point in the future. But for right now, this is one of those games where if anything that I said sounds interesting to you, I would at least give this one a try. And it's not quite going for like a super long-term focus of an ARPG, but it doesn't quite have enough randomness or variance of a roguelite. So it may not be for everyone, but who knows? You may enjoy this kind of short-form take on the two. And with that, Hellclock was played with a retail key. If you want to do your game for a future stream and video, be sure to get in touch. If you did play this one, I'm curious what you thought of it and how far you got in it. And with that, thanks for tuning in, and see everyone for our next review and for more design talks coming real soon. Thanks for watching, and a special thank you to our Patreon supporters. If you enjoyed the video, do the YouTubing stuff, be sure to visit our Discord and Patreon, and you're interested in more in my thoughts on design, check out my game design books.